we're obviously going to start by talking about South Korea and the South Korean president declaring martial law. They got a lot going on for them. They got an incel president. Incel president has a wife. He's a big wife guy. Loses the parliament. Doesn't like that he lost the parliament, especially because now parliament is coming after his wife. He's a big wife guy. He has to do what he has to do. Now, let me tell you something. I'm no expert in Korean politics. I don't fully comprehend the system. I don't know the parties. I don't really get it. Okay. But I will give you my basic understanding of Korean politics. I know a little bit of Korean history from the Korean War. But what I do know is Neo-Confucianism and its devastating impact in Korean politics, in contemporary Korean politics, in contemporary Korean culture, and how it factors into gacha games and the way that the Korean incel army has engaged a lot of Gamergate style tactics. What I know is a couple things. One, Korea is a hyper-capitalist dystopia. Two, cost of living and shit is very unaffordable. Three, massive gender wars happening in Korea. Four, they have a parliamentary system, but they ended up, almost every single one of their leaders have been corrupt. They love doing corruption. Koreans can't catch a break, dude. These guys used to live in a military dictatorship. Then the military dictatorship turned into, three chaebols in a trench coat. And now every single time they elect a new leader, they just get punished for doing corruption or being a fucking freak. And now here we are, the latest and greatest in that same saga.
I declare martial law to protect the Free Republic of Korea from the threat of North Korean communist forces, to eradicate the despicable pro-North Korean anti-state forces that are plundering the freedom and happiness of our people, and to protect the free constitutional order.
That's right. Yeah. South Korea, big problem with communism. Everybody knows how big the problem with communism is. Understand that this is just like every fascist's rallying call. Every fascist rallying cry is like, oh, I'm here to, defeat the anti-democratic communist forces by doing martial law and killing a bunch of people. And like, if you know a little bit about Korean history, you know that that is exactly how they used to operate. And they would just like kill a shit ton, Jakarta method style. They would basically just kill a shit ton of people who were like trade unionists, feminists, anyone who was like anti-government in any meaningful fashion. They would just like murk them to be like, oh, you're a communist, you're a sympathizer. And America basically oversaw that and thought it was awesome. So really cool that South Korea's last president is trying to bring that back in a big way.
Through this martial law, I will rebuild and protect the Free Republic of Korea, which is falling into the abyss of national ruin. To this end, I will definitely eradicate the anti-state forces who are the main culprit of the country's ruination and conduct vicious activities.
A Tuesday night in South Korea.
It's pretty funny because like it's just far right versus lib right as far as I understand. It's not like there's any sort of real communism happening, and it's just a bullshit excuse. And it's basically just like, a consortium of like Korean women who are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't kill us. Like that would be nice. That's communism. And then a bunch of people who are like kind of neoliberal and will at least say that they want to like eliminate corruption or something. And then that's treated as communism in this perspective. But I guess the reality is, like, nobody thinks that there's real communism happening in South Korea. He's just using that because he thinks like that will be successful at getting dumbasses on board. Having said that, interestingly enough, the Korean trade union movements they're pretty strong, and Koreans also love to party. They love to riot. They are very French in that regard. So I suspect that there will be some labor actions that come out of this. So we'll see. Koreans love a good protest, and they definitely have like some. It's weird. They have some semblance of labor militancy, but also at the same time, like work-life standards are still dog shit. Interesting country overall. No, there already is. There you go. The Korean Confederation of Trade Unions will begin an indefinite general strike tomorrow, demanding an immediate resignation of President Yoon Suk Yeol. President Goon. I'm with him. I think we need more wife guys in power. Like, I think what he did for his wife. And a lot of y'all don't understand that because you're incels. He's not. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was illegal to love your wife and defend her from corruption charges because she has expensive taste. Sorry. My bitch bad. Okay? Sorry.
The television channel shows a popular chat show. The mood is as soft as the furnishings. Until the president breaks into the evening schedule and spoils it with a national address that shocks the nation.
친애하는 국민 여러분.
President Yoon declares martial law, putting the military in charge. He blames pro-North Korean opposition parties who make up the majority in parliament and who've been blocking his legislation, including a budget.
Yeah, his opposition parties are all North Korean in nature. Yeah, that's awesome. I do find it really interesting how bad things are getting. I will say it is an interesting predicament. It almost feels like neoliberalism on overdrive for the past 3-4 decades now, without any sort of serious contender, ideological. On the global stage, we have arrived at this capitalism supercharged moment where there's a lot of spearheaded, there's a lot of, movement in the direction of fascism. If you have been dominated by America, you're already relatively reactionary. You already have sometimes fundamentalist leadership. And if you're in the sphere of influence of America, you slowly but surely have revitalized your nascent fascist movements. Meanwhile, of course, America is doing that too. Fascist South Korea is preferable on the border of China to the US empire? Yes. I mean, that's not a stretch. That's just history. What you're describing is literally history. That is what happened. Like, people think Korea was always this shining beacon, the Japan of the 90s. It wasn't. Shit sucked. It was a military dictatorship, and America kept it that way because it suited its political purposes in the region.
Parliament in this building should now be suspended. But it's also the only body that can overrule the president and his martial law by voting against him. Cue a midnight dash for Parliament.
Bro, the Korean incel guy is such a fucking loser, by the way. Like, truly remarkable, truly shocking to me that he was so bad at doing a coup that he couldn't even bring out the special military units fast enough. He ended up fucking it up so bad. How do you do a coup where before you even protect the parliament, you allow these goddamn libtards to jump over the barrier and come in and vote against your coup? It makes no sense, dude. He got 100% disapproval rating. Like, that's crazy. Everybody was like, no, dog, your shit sucks. 190 votes. Motherfuckers climbed the barrier of the parliamentary wall so they could go in, and then their nerd ass staffers were literally pushing back the special forces and stopping them from entering the parliament to push out any of these people, to push out the people. And then they took it to a goddamn vote. And honestly, liberalism won, okay? Turns out you can vote away fascism, it seems, at least so far. If the coup is defeated because enough MPs climb the fences and manage to say the magic words that I'm afraid we owe liberalism an apology. No, but might makes right, but the military was going along with it and the law is just a piece of paper compared to the sacred power of a gun. Quorum achieved, asshole. Yeah. He also said, yo, my bad. We're actually going to pull out the fucking troops. So sorry. The goddamn incel president is like, yo, these guys are doing North Korean style communism here. They want to do Jusha. And the Jusha is like child tax credits. The Jusha is like, hey, why don't we actually not make it a 70-hour work week? I think we should keep it at the reasonable 67 it was at, sir. And then he's like, oh, that's the most communist thing I've ever heard in my life. Also, I'm fucking up the numbers, but it's not even a joke. That's literally what happened. Like, I'm exaggerating on the numbers, but that's what the president literally did. So that's not even a joke. It's crazy. They'd be like, can the unions get weekends off? They're like, this is the most extreme leftist position we've ever heard in our lives. What the fuck are you saying? You want Jusha style self-reliant North Korean communism. We will not allow it.
MPs and journalists scramble to get to the chamber. Outside the gates, the scuffles continue in a cloud of tear gas and a flash of cameras. Others remember the last time martial law was imposed in this country, before South Korea shook off military dictatorship to become one of the most prosperous and vibrant democracies in Asia.
Bro, no disrespect. This is not shitting on South Korea at all. I just don't think America has a vibrant democracy either. It is funny though when people are like, oh, you don't understand. South Korea, this vibrant democracy. The only reason why they're saying that is so they can compare it to North Korea, which is bad, right? Who the fuck in the Western world has their shit in order at this point? I'm serious. I'm not even kidding about this. We have fascists everywhere, dude. Visiting France. Oh yeah, it's real vibrant over there. Remember when Macron was like, I am not going to follow the democratic wishes and precedent set forth by and I'm just going to refuse to put anyone from the senior partner in the coalition that won in the previous election into a position of power. Yeah. Macron low-key did a centrist coup. Like, he did it already in France. Oh.
As the standoff continues, the opposition parliamentarians who've made it into the building vote against the martial law. The result is 100.
I also don't understand it. It's like, why do we have so many troops and so much money that we're spending overseas that we have no control? Like, when this motherfucker pulls this shit off, one phone call, dude. Hey, President Goon, let me tell you something, okay? Stand the fuck down, bitch. Fuck you mean you're doing martial law? Stand down. I got 29,000 brave U.S. military Marines right there, ready to let it rip.
90 to 0. The remaining 110 MPs who belong to the President's People's Party did not show up to vote. Many of them, by the way, were also against the imposition of martial law. In the dead of night, the soldiers are filmed returning to barracks. If the coup is indeed over, it lasted 2 hours and 48 minutes, half an hour longer than Parasite, Korea's Oscar-winning film, and almost as.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. You can't be comparing it to Korean works, man. That's crazy. Respect, though.